Come on in, y'all. Let's sit together as a family. Let's talk about this documentary. I almost didn't watch it because did I want to sit through 90 minutes of watching another Black woman lose her life in front of her kids? Did I want to fall into it? Did I want to see it as a mother of children myself, of boys? Okay, who are often outside playing, experiencing joy, the innocence of being a child outside playing and building community with other children. Did I want to sit down and watch what could happen to any of us? I really didn't. But I sat down as a therapist, as a mother, as a Black woman, and did some research and looked a little bit more into who was telling this story, the narrative of the story. And I thought, okay, let me give it a chance because watching this could possibly help this family who are trying to recover get some monetization off of it was my whole goal for watching it. And now I'm left sitting here after watching it thinking about her children, those two boys, and them being asked, "Are you okay?" And all they could think about was, "Is my mother breathing?" And the other boy is like, "I'm okay, but I'm heartbroken. I am heartbroken, and that is something grieving therapy probably will never solve and will never go away. That I just watched my mother lose her life over trying to protect me and the guilt that I might live with, the trauma of watching my mother pass away, the trauma of this whole experience not only lives up here, it's always gonna sit in my heart, and it's always gonna sit in my body to know that I was just outside playing, minding my own business, enjoying some innocence when I, like some of these people said in the documentary, could be breaking in the cars, selling drugs, hitting my mama, beating up on other kids. No, we were outside playing. Okay, we were outside playing. Now, if you are new here, I'm Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Breathe, y'all. Just breathe. Now, coming across this documentary, a lot of us remember the story of AJ Owens and the different things that she went through as a single mother trying to raise her kids and have them experience some joy. Be innocent, be children, be outside, building community and connection, which is something I feel like in the world now we have lost. And there's only sprinklings of community left. But all it takes is one person to come into a community and ruin it for everybody. And that is just what happened over years of this woman coming in and stealing any type of joy these kids experience, this mother could have experienced with her kids, all for what? For what really? Because she couldn't hear her TV, because she felt like she was losing power and control, because she felt like the police were not doing enough. So I need to do something about it. And that's where we come across the body cam footage over what 2 years of them constantly coming out because she kept calling. And it started with a sign that supposedly AJ threw at her, tossed probably out of frustration, and just kept going and going and going. And we see over and over again the police come out. At what point do the police arrest her for being a public nuisance, for abusing the emergency hotline for non-emergencies? Okay. And the one time we did see her in this documentary, she was gonna get arrested. Oh no, we saw the tears. We saw the weaponization. "Oh, I just have trauma and I thought, he wanted to do something to me, so I started ramming the gate." And then, of course, what happens? The police oblige. "Okay, ma'am. I'll go talk to him about not pressing charges." In that moment, I wonder if that would have changed what happened. Okay. If it had changed what happened, but over and over again, we watched the body cam footage of this woman using and abusing her privilege as a white woman to have power over kids who are learning to have power within themselves, who are building community, not just with kids that look like them, but diversity within that community that she kept trying to break up, that she took and she stole. Her miserable ass stole so much joy, so many memories, so many things these kids will never get back. The trauma, all of these kids, not just AJ's kids, but the kids in the community of watching a woman they're familiar with, their neighbor, lose her life. Okay. Now, I don't want to focus too much on this woman because I want to focus more on who really matters here, the family. Okay. The family. But I feel like let's go a little bit deeper, y'all. Watching this, I saw themes of activation, power, fear, weaponization of anxiety. Okay. Now, these body cam videos and footage is very raw. Now, when we see them talking to this woman, it's always, I am the victim. Okay. I am the victim. Those kids, the 9-year-old, the 10-year-old, they're the problem. And the woman, their mother threatens me all the time. But by playing the body cam footage, the power and narrative, I believe, returns to the family. Okay. And I think watching this, it triggers so many different emotions in us as viewers to now have eyewitness accounts of what happened. And I wonder what you guys felt. Was it anxiety, hypervigilance, anger, helplessness? Because we're watching the aftermath. There's nothing we can do right now. All the people who had opportunity to do something, the police, have mental health people come out, social services come out to try and navigate the situation, figure out what's going on with this woman, why she keeps calling. And I wonder, as you guys were watching, what were some of the sensations you felt? Did you feel triggered? Did it bring up something in your own life? What helped you kind of keep watching, or did you turn off the TV? Because over and over again, I felt myself becoming activated, watching those young boys cry. Even there was a clip of, I believe, her daughter um, combing a Barbie doll's hair in the street. She had this big little comb. We're familiar with the comb, the wide tooth comb. Just innocently, like, trying to get the kinks out her hair. We all remember that as a child, playing with our Barbie, trying to comb that hair out, that little bit of hair. The innocence of just, I'm just standing in the street, unfortunately familiar with talking to the police. That's another thing. Being young and becoming familiar with talking to the police. And how that also stays with you as a young child. The things other people who are not people of color never have to experience and don't go through. You know, learning how to engage with the police, learning what not to do and say when you're talking to the police, when police are around. The conditioning that we have to go through. Okay. And this is all because this woman, this neighbor, who had not even been living there very long, used power, fear, and weaponized all this stuff, the weaponization of anxiety. We saw the neighbors repeatedly calling 911, the framing of the children on her property, even though there was this big, large field that all the kids enjoy playing on. Okay. So you expect, all these kids in this empty field to not play there. Not only that, I'm sure when you went to go visit this place to potentially live there, you had to see all the kids in the neighborhood. And what would you think was gonna happen? Okay. You had to see all those kids playing when you went to visit the unit. And then also, why not just decide after the first couple incidents, leave, find somewhere else to live? Because I want to have power over these black children. They should be respecting me because of the color of my skin. Her using the hard ER, calling them slaves. She was upset she couldn't have power over them. And she couldn't have power over their mama. The white police came to the door and they weren't helping me. They were not doing anything. Okay. They were not trying to help me. I'm over here fearful, trying to protect my property. And I think in her mind, the fear started to change her behavior. I think it turned into aggression. And I wonder what happens when people misinterpret a threat and respond excessively. Because I think she started to respond excessively. And I think once over and over again, she felt like the police were not doing anything. Oh, let me go to the Googles. Oh, this is Florida. Stand my ground. Zimmerman. Trayvon Martin. It worked for them, so it should work for me. But it just reminds me of how I have to make sure as a black woman raising black boys, I teach them how to engage with that. It almost at the same time takes away a little bit of their innocence because they have to be conditioned to learn how to engage with people like that. And they have to be raised to know what Karens are and what they look like. That is something right there that we don't talk enough about. How young black children have to be conditioned to behave a certain way around white people, whereas white kids get to grow up in innocence. And it's not till they are faced with, oh, a black person telling them about their lived experience or becoming friends with someone of color that they learn about the things we were born into, the systems that failed us, that this documentary shows over and over again, the systems that fail us. Okay. There was so much community, belonging, and othering, as we saw in this doc. The neighborhood, children playing, interacting, but one person can shift how a community interacts. And that one person was this woman. Okay. The woman being white, the victim, Miss Owens, being black, and how many of the complaints were directed at children playing. Systematic bias and the constant surveillance of black families. How many of y'all have been somewhere just minding your business and you turn around and it's somebody white looking at you, staring at you? You're giggling with your friends, you're taking a selfie with your friends. But so many times we could be minding our own business, but we're in the wrong. Experiencing joy, but we're in the wrong. Okay, we're in the wrong. We're always under surveillance. And I know people will have different responses. Oh, it's not, why does this have to be a white or black thing? Because it is. We see it over and over again. It almost becomes sometimes like trauma porn. Like, do I really want to engage and watch this? Another story. And will the consequences be fitting for the actions? Will it? This small conflict of the kids playing in the grass create a pathway for large harm. And I think the film shows what started as a complaint about children just playing over months into a fatal shooting. Was the woman mentally fatigued? Was AJ tired of the bullshit? Because I remember reading also that once she finally got arrested, what, 4 years later? 4 years later, it took them 4 years. She was on the Googles looking up stand your ground information. That to me is premeditated. That to me is an escalation of something so small that grew into large harm. I wonder in your own life, what small conflict have you seen turn into larger pathways for harm? And how'd you cope with it? Did you avoid? Did it simmer stress? Or did you eventually break down? But her children have to live with, and I doubt they live in the same area. I'm sure they moved to go live with her mom somewhere. But the children now dealing with the trauma, the grief, and the loss of safety. Will they ever be able to feel safe anymore? And I want to know from you guys, if you were living in this community, would you have been able to stay? Would you have left? Do you think there are still people to this day who still live on that street in that community? And did this act break up the community? It opens up a larger conversation to me about secondary trauma, vicarious trauma, and community grief. And now the grief that some people might feel and the secondary trauma of sitting here and watching the documentary. What do you do with now those feelings, those thoughts that now you sit with after watching it? What did you do for yourself after watching it? Okay. But the kids have to sit with this, her kids, neighborhood kids, everyone there that night have to now sit with the memory, the images. And I wonder from a police perspective, how are those people feeling today who went out there all those times? Do they feel like they could have done more? Could they have done less? Could they? But I think it's very sad that I feel like Black families are always surveilled. The joy we have is fleeting. We have to make room for joy instead of it already being a part of our lives. Clock that. Making room for joy instead of it already being a natural part of our lives. Now, the one little like critique I saw people discussing was that I believe I wasn't sure if it was the director, whoever put the documentary together, was best friends with I guess her sister or something it was best friends with AJ. I guess people want some transparency to know that there is a connection, there could be a narrative, because there's a close relationship there with the family. I personally don't see that being a big deal. They said they went to the family to do the documentary in hopes that it would actually bring them some power. It could contribute to them monetary and making money off of, people watching it. But I wonder, are we growing further and further away from community and connection? Has the world become so divisive now? And can real community really exist? Okay. We're always talking about nowadays inviting people to the cookout. Should y'all be inviting people to the cookout? Should it be our own thing? Should it be this like, okay, this is our cookout. Y'all got y'all's, we got ours. Okay. Now, towards the end, we see, the lady get what, manslaughter charges, 25 years at her age. I guess that's considered life. Do y'all consider that justice? Okay, is that justice for y'all? But what did the documentary leave you sitting with? What are you feeling? Did you recognize what your body was feeling as you watched it? And can there ever be a place in the world where Black children can grow up naturally experiencing joy and not feel the need to make room for it? Can we raise our children without the conditioning of how to act around police, around people who don't look like us? Can they feel safe around those people? But of course, I want to know your thoughts. What you think of the docuseries? So much more to talk about. I'll probably go live and talk about it tomorrow. To have some more community discussion because it's a larger topic about standing your ground, boundaries, trauma, so many different things. Okay, so many different things. But please let me know your thoughts. Let me breathe as a mother of Black children, of Black boys who play outside. How much it means to be able to see them embrace joy without fear and feeling like I live somewhere, hopefully, where they can just genuinely experience joy without the fear of it being stolen, the fear of someone complaining. Does that really exist? Or is it something I have created in my mind that I want them to experience, but there will always be some kind of surveillance watching them? Okay. But I'm Denise Brady. Let me know your thoughts. Stay for a little bit, stay for a while, hit that like, subscribe, join the community. And of course, I want to know your thoughts. Come into the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourself. You recognize what you're feeling, acknowledge that, take some deep breaths, walk away maybe from the TV a little bit because it was very intense. All of it was intense, all of it. All right. And I will see you next time. Bye.